Let's see. I mean, only things I have with me are the Wii, the SNES Classic, which don't have like any, and in my PS TV, which has a few.
And you have... And DKC2 would have been on the Switch, right?
It would have... I don't have it.
Yeah, but I know
if I did, it would be on the Wii. Probably.
Oh, it would be on the Wii?
Mm-hmm. The Switch doesn't have any Donkey Kong. It doesn't have even DKC1 yet.
That's really weird.
But they're very restrictive on what's on their NES and SNES on loans. They have Joe and Mac too.
Why?
That beloved classic. I tried it. It wasn't great. It was. I considered it a video game. Ah! Again, I blame the winter for all this.
Do they not release games during the winter?
No, it's cold, and I don't want my stuff to freeze.
Oh, I thought you meant as far as them.
No, Nintendo doesn't exist during the winter.
Nintendo doesn't release games during the winter.
There are a lot of other things I've been playing on the Switch, but I can't really stream them because it's something I'd also be wanting to play on my own time, which would not make for a coherent stream. Streaming is... I guess it's one of the reasons I like to play roguelikes so much on stream, just because I can just pick them up whenever. Without having to worry about any...
You also just like roguelikes.
That is very true. I am playing Ultimate Alliance, but I can't stream that really. Without... What? Oh, it's... Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
Yeah, what about it?
Oh, I've been playing that, but I don't think I could stream it really because I had to have just another file dedicated specifically only for streaming. So
you couldn't unlock things, or
well,
what?
I could, but to progress through the game, I'd have to basically play through everything twice, which I don't think I'd enjoy it as much, playing on what I know is just a secondary file. That is a sort of... That does stop me from enjoying a game as much, I know. And that is a problem.
Man, I'm just making cemetery factories everywhere. Well, that's, why I have story-based games here, but you don't really like story-based games.
No, I don't.
And then you talk about games that I don't see how, other than story progression, you wouldn't be able to play on your own time.
Huh?
What in Marvel Ultimate Alliance makes it so that you couldn't just play off of the one that you already have going?
Well, I mean, are you okay with me streaming it starting from the middle of the game?
Oh wait, no, I was thinking of the fighting game.
Oh, yeah.
That's that
Marvel
one where
versus
you
Capcom.
run around with your team and do
yeah.
quests and missions and...
Yeah, for a fighting game, I could just pick up whatever, but as much as I try, I don't really like fighting games that much. I've tried, but...
Especially because you don't like Street Fighter controls.
Right, which is the #1 style.
Which I don't understand. It seems cumbersome.
It seems cumbersome, yes. It's like making the handling of your character more difficult for the sake of it.
Especially in an era where we've come up with plenty of solutions for it.
I mean, making...
I mean, look at how well Smash controls, for example.
Right. I mean, there are times where you don't want every character to control perfectly. Like, Luigi is deliberately slippery. In Castlevania, there's it was a deliberate decision that you don't really have air control. But...
Yeah, but do you have owl control?
In a fighting game, why would you not want complete control over your own character? your opponent isn't the game. It's the other player 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand the logic of...
I'm thinking it's just done because it's tradition. And I hate that.
Especially because there are lots of really bad traditions.
I respect Pokken for, I guess, it does what Tekken does in that, well, most of its attack inputs are 2 inputs, which I think is a great number of inputs to do a thing. Like, you have, it's sort of like Smash. If you're forward and heavy, you're back and heavy, up, down, that kind of stuff. And you, like, chain them together and stuff, but it's also combo heavy, and then I realized that you can't separate a fighting game, really, from that ultra-competitive atmosphere.
Yeah.
Which I just can't...
Which was a huge part of turning me off to Smash over time, was just hearing about how the community talks to each other, about certain topics in the game.
How much you have to invest yourself in it to be competent, even.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, with that competitive mindset comes people acting like dicks.
Well, I don't care about them. It's the same thing that makes it really hard for me to get back into TCGs, because it has that exact same phenomenon of...
Well, your least favorite part about that is there's one correct way to set up every deck.
Right. In late era TCGs, it really does vary from game to game. Like, different TCGs have that occurring to differing degrees.
Yeah, it seems like Magic is very flexible in what you can do.
And I'm still a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, but the existence of staple cards offends me. I hate that they exist.
You mean energy?
No, staple cards are basically cards that will be in every viable deck.
Like energy?
No, like Guzma.
I was joking. You can't make most decks without an energy card.
I did it.
Yeah, and like I said, now you can actually have an Alolan Vulpix and Alolan Ninetales in that deck.
I like that idea,
And-
but I don't want to because it's a Rotom deck, and Ninetales does not fit the theme of Rotom.
I know, it's just I thought that was really funny that there is a Vulpix and a Ninetales that both do not require any energy.
It feels weird for Ninetales to be powered by tools. Makes sense for Rotom, but...
Yeah, Rubbish Blizzard.
Is what it's called?
Yeah.
That's really...
Yeah, it almost sounds more like a Garbodor ability than...
Now, that's sounding like them running out of ideas.
Yeah.
Rubbish Blizzard sounds like they're running out of ideas.
Yeah, it's specifically called Rubbish Blizzard.
It's like a blizzard, but there's trash in it. The Ninetales puts the trash in it. But yeah, I've heard about Tier 0 deck. Tier 0 decks in tournaments, which is when, like, in the higher placing positions in a tournament, like, in some cases, like, I think all 32 of the top placing decks had the same theming, and that's just atrocious. They use the same archetype of cards. I don't remember what it was, but all the 32 top placing have basically the same kind of deck. That's disgusting, isn't it?
It's pretty annoying.
What are you even... I mean, what game are you even playing at this point? What is the game you're playing? But even if you have, like, 5
It's a luck-based game as well.
To an extent, to a large extent, yes. But, I mean, when everyone's playing the same deck, that's basically all it is, right?
Yeah.
And then apparently you get the phenomenon of first turn kills, which a lot of TCGs are, well, Yu-Gi-Oh! In particular, is speeding up, so that's a more common phenomenon. And decks are built around the possibility of can they get a first turn win, and I think that's terrible.
How much do you want to play the game that you're playing?
Yes, I mean, if you pull off a first turn win, did you even play a game? Or did you just, well, yes, you had to set it up and stuff, but your opponent they didn't play a game.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do? You just played down some cards and then you got up and walked away because you won.
Yep.
What are you even doing at that point?
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you at all on that.
Yeah, and I really want to get into it because TCGs have a lot of monsters in them, and I love monsters. God, I'm kicking myself here.
Because you don't know what to do?
Yes.
I mean, your talking is interesting.
Yeah,
you actually have ideas and thoughts and concepts.
Right. Part of me, I mean, I just don't think I have like 3 hours of things to say.
Why not?
I just don't.
Why not? You should.
Because I didn't come prepared. Let's see. Differences in TCGs, huh? You know what's one of the most basic effects you can have in a TCG from a card?
Draw a card.
Yes. That is exactly it. Every TCG has cards that are just, you use this and then you draw more cards.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting to me is that in different TCGs, this has different significance. And they're the exact same card. They have the exact same text, even between completely different systems. Draw 2 cards.
Mm-hmm.
But in some systems, this is seen as an average effect, whereas in others, a card that just says, draw 2 cards, is put on the ban list for how overpowered it is.
Such as what?
In Yu-Gi-Oh! Their draw 2 cards card has been banned for basically the entirety that they've had a ban list at all. Because of how powerful it is. Whereas in Pokemon,
Draw 2 cards is actually a really crappy card.
it's not really well, it is because you have draw 3 cards.
You have draw 7 cards. You have put up to 5 cards into your hand cards.
Which is, yeah. Whereas in Yu-Gi-Oh! That same draw effect would be either immediately banned, or it would immediately become a staple in every deck until it was banned because of that. I do appreciate that Konami really does dislike staple cards. If a card becomes a staple, they will restrict the numbers you can have or just ban it. Because if you're playing with 40 card decks, and every deck has the same 10 staple cards, you're really just building a 30 card deck, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it has to do with action economy. Because in Pokemon, you can't just keep playing more and more of these draw more cards cards. Because they're supporters.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess, unless otherwise specified in Yu-Gi-Oh!, you can always just play as many spells as you want, and you can just keep doing as much as you want a turn, aside from a few specific things. Like your monster can only attack once a turn, but basically you can just keep doing more and more things a turn, and you can do enough things, you win. If you do enough things, you win. And I thought that was an interesting phenomenon, how different rulings completely change the impact of the exact same card.
Yeah, I can see that.
And of course, these are basically the only 2 TCGs I know much of anything about.
Even though there are plenty of people who can tell you infinity about Magic the Gathering.
Yes. I enjoyed looking through Yu-Gi-Oh's bestiary much, much more than Magic's.
Since most of those are just dragons.
No. Dragons, I think, are the 4th most common type of monster in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, Yeah, but what color are their eyes and what color are the dragons?
They still don't come in a lot of colors, sadly. I know there's a series called The Odd Eyes, and I don't get that. I haven't seen them, but I'm assuming by name it being heterochromia or something.
Probably something like that.
But yeah, I feel that Magic takes itself too seriously, aside from when it is blatantly joking around. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh, you can just have anything. Whereas Magic is very standardly high fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh, you have an egg, and here are 3 frogs on top of each other, and here's Voltron.
They're toads, thank you very much.
Sorry. And you have Voltron, then you have this edgy dragon. And you have a Mimic that's a jar. And it's also banned, so no you don't.
Pot of Greed.
Morphing Jar.
Oh.
Jar cards are very good at getting banned. They just tend to have really breakable, abusable effects. It's also interesting comparing the way that Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh! Deal with banning cards.
How so?
Well, Pokemon, for the most part, it doesn't. You could easily memorize all of the banned cards in Pokemon, I figure.
Well, that depends, because they go out of series eventually.
That's the thing. That's why they don't have a ban list. Because
Although I don't like that.
That they cycle them out?
Yeah. Because it means basically that at some point...
What baffles me is that you'd think that this cycling would prevent, or at least severely limit, power creep. And it absolutely has not. Because again, at the very beginning, 120 hit points was enormous, and now it's...
Sometimes a first generation, or first stage.
Rarely. Now, 300 is a lot. And 120 is, well, for third stage, that's unimpressive.
A lot of wasted potential, really, because you put a lot into something that can get knocked out very easily.
100 damage was seen as, that's the most damage you can do with an attack, where now it's like half of the fully evolved Pokemon can do 100 damage. That's easy.
There are some non-fully evolved Pokemon that can do 100 damage.
Right, though, with some caveats. So, yeah. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh! Generally has all of its cards available, except for the ones that just don't work well. And they also have, limiting, instead of just banning cards, sometimes they have them limited to 1 or 2 copies per deck instead of the full 3 in that game. They have cards that have card effects that take place when you're not even playing, which is weird.
Huh? Oh, like when the other person's playing?
No, this card's name is always treated as X. Which actually comes into play when you're just building your deck, because it counts against the limit. You can only have so many cards, not the same card, but cards with the same name.
Well, that's true with Pokemon. You can have, Ninetales, Alolan Ninetales, and Dark Ninetales, and you can have all of them. You can have 4 of all of them.
I mean, you probably wouldn't want to.
Yeah, there's no real reason to, but you could do that.
But you can't have 5 different Ninetales that are all just Ninetales from different sets. Because they're all just Ninetales. And you could have a Rocket's Ninetales if the Rockets had one. They might or might not. Probably not. But yeah.
That's Dark Ninetales.
But there's also a similar effect of this card is always treated as if its name were X, while on the field or in the graveyard, in which case you can just put more of them in your deck because it doesn't say it's always that, just while it's in play. Which is neat and also really annoying for some decks I've actually tried to build that use a lot of cards that have that. Which also means the card's name is never its actual name.
That's weird.
Because its effect is that its name is always something different than what it actually is.
lot of abandoned buildings for some reason.
Well, put the dead people in them.
I mean, you could.
You could. Oh.
You could put dead people in a building.
But yeah, and of course, power creep happened. But despite power creep happening, some of the cards released in the very first set are still seen as competitively viable.
In which
In
set?
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, in Yu-Gi-Oh!
The oldest cards that aren't banned, some of them are still seen as competitively viable, even though power creep has absolutely happened. Because this is another interesting note that power creep really mostly just applies to numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Like a card that says, destroy all monsters on the field. That's a lot harder to creep.
Yeah.
At Jubilee, we're committed to letting you do the impossible.
Whereas I guess draw 2 cards, you could creep with draw 3 cards, but that never happened because drawing 2 cards was bannable.
The car
They-
engineer said shouldn't be made.
Oh.
Test drive one today. And experience.
I know Konami also made a card. Well, they will try and ban cards that could easily create a draw.
Be reasonable.
Which I think makes sense, right?
Since nobody wins.
Because no one wants a draw, right? Well, unless you're about to lose. And even then, a draw probably isn't that satisfying.
First radio host choice with the best radio voice.
They made a card where if your opponent has way more life than you, both of your life is set to 0. Basically, it's
It was way more life.
Your starting life points are 8,000 if your opponent has 7,000 points more than you.
So it's a mutually assured destruction, kind of.
Yes, it's if I can't win, you can't win. The thing is, all that card is good for is setting a draw.
Is for being petty.
Yes, actually, no. In some tournament formats, there's a system called a match, where it's the best out of 3. Which means, technically, if you can win one match and
Then
force
you
the next
can-
to be a draw, you win the set.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So no, forcing a draw could work well. And you know what's...
Oh, yeah, because then it would be a draw until the last match was played.
Right, but I think you could, tournament time or something, you'd time it out, and whoever has the most wins, wins.
Oh. So you could just sit and wait?
Or something like that. There might be rules against that. I've obviously never done a tournament of that. But I know that this is mentioned as something that was put in decks to force something like that. And I guess that was seen as bad sportsmanship, because I think it was. The thing there is, obviously you can't, you have to lower your opponent's life points is generally the goal of the game, so you gotta work to do that. If you have a card that just removes life points, that has to be meticulously balanced. But if you have a card that for some reason gives your opponent life points, you don't really have to balance it, because generally that's a penalty to to balance a more desirable effect. So you have a deck that deliberately gives your opponent a ton of life points, so you can trigger the self-destruct card.
And force a draw.
Right. It doesn't require that you be at low life points. Your opponent just needs to have a lot more than you. So yeah, it's just... You gotta wonder why that card ever existed, because it could only do one thing, and that one thing was something they didn't want any card to do. I guess it was basically a joke card, but it wasn't immediately treated as one.
Imakuni still has some of the best joke cards.
Right. Because Imakuni was never intended to see play.
As with some of the silly magic sets. Although apparently, I think there are a few joke magic cards that might be useful. I don't know.
I know that some Yu-Gi-Oh cards, specifically ones that are handed out as prizes at tournaments, actually specify in the card's effect that you cannot use this card in a duel. Which is really funny, and they have special effects like if like you're playing a set and you win the match with this card, you win the whole set.
Another one is...
But you can't use it, so whatever.
Another one, though, that bothers me about, like, Pokemon is in the Pokemon trading card game. There are rules as far as the condition of the cards. If the cards are bent or damaged in some way, they can't be in play. But damage can even include if it's like scratched, even though all of them have to have protectors. Like if the paint is like scratched off, you can't read it as well.
I think it really depends on how anal the.
Well, at a tournament, at a tournament, it is always just barred. And
okay, it comes down to the discretion of the judges.
But one of the reasons that that's dumb is sometimes the way they package cards, the cards always end up bent.
I guess you just can't use
and so those cards, like there was an Eevee in a recent set.
The bad packaging. I've seen you unpackage those.
Yep. They were already bent, and so you just can't play that card.
And of course, also it's miscuts, but I guess those are at least collectors' things.
Yeah.
For some reason, but let's see. My problem with Pokemon is energy cards are boring. You have to fill a large portion of your deck with something that just isn't interesting.
Yeah, but that's also your opinion of a lot of trainers. And some of those are mandatory trainers.
That's true. That said, though...
I think it's funny that Pokemon is almost entirely not about Pokemon.
I don't like that because Pokemon are the best thing about Pokemon, you know?
Mm-hmm. I just mean I find it so peculiar.
That trainer cards are generally considered more important than Pokemon cards, yes. I mean, you need both, but... Well, I would hope.
You can, I think, make a lot of viable decks with less than 10 Pokemon in a Pokemon card deck.
Yeah, but that's just less fun. Apparently the general guideline for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is half monsters, half not monsters, which I think is a much better ratio.
Yeah, the ratio in Pokemon is... about 20 energy, 20 to 30 trainer cards.
No, I think you want very little energy and just a lot of ways of getting your energy back, which...
It really depends on the circumstance.
Or, okay, in my case, just no energy, because I'm a weirdo.
With one deck that you don't even use very much.
Well, I use it.
Because you don't play it online.
Right, because of my problem with TCGs. Because I'd rather be true to my style than be competitive, but I want to win. I'm always torn between, again, being true to myself and being good at the game. I want to have this cake and the other one also, and then eat them.
Without getting rid of them.
Yeah, well, yes, but not in one sitting, of course. That'd be ridiculous. Unless they're very small.
But yeah, this is why you don't ever make important things on main streets, is because this means that I can't widen this street. I can't widen this street with a park on it. I have to move the park.
Just put it over there.
Put it on the dead bodies.
Yes, squish them. I suppose you can make a deck with only monster cards if you use some of those weird monster cards that can also be used as spells.
Can you have trap monster cards?
There are traps that can turn into monsters.
So do they just have the health information and stuff on them?
Yeah,
it only functions once the trap is strong?
Basically, the effect is, once you activate this trap, place it in the monster zone as a monster with these stats. I've seen decks that revolve around that, and they are weird to fight and kind of they're tricky because you can only summon one monster a turn, but there's no such limit on traps, so that can get pretty spooky.
Oh, because they can just spring multiple monsters at the same time.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh no, and it hurts. Or it doesn't, but it probably does. And also, they can summon they basically have a monster without you realizing they have a monster, even.
And you're like,
and then they're like, oh no! And then you're like, oh damn it, it's a snake. And then they introduced pendulum monsters, which are weirdos. First of all, they're called pendulum monsters, and I don't know what that means. But you can play them either as a monster or as a spell.
What are you spelling?
I don't know, any of them can be either. I respect their ambition, though I think it's getting a bit excessive. It's a turtle that's also a liar.
Nintendo.
And they also have Synchro monsters, and they have Link monsters, and they have XYZ monsters. I don't get that name.
Look, I have a theme park.
I miss the old days when there was actually a point in your monster's attack power, and it wasn't just all about how many plays you can make in one turn. It was about, God, what is it, Saints Row?
Like 7 cars in the same spot.
I guess it's Saints Row without the explosions. But yeah, it's a different game now. I suppose any TCG will become a different game if it goes on long enough. I guess it's why Magic has, like, classic Magic and modern Magic formats, but... What was that noise?
Must have been nothing.
Oh, it's just... I don't even know what that is, so I don't care. Disgust. Oh!
I don't even know.
Someone must have replied to my comment on praising Bogleach's Pokemon reviews.
What is it?
Oh. He's reviewing 8th Gen finally, after getting over his heartbreak at Pokemon being removed from the decks.
Oh, yeah.
It hit him pretty hard. He reviewed Gigantamax Lapras, and I pointed out I don't like it.
I don't even know what it looks like. We didn't look at those.
Because they didn't have any really... It wasn't that easy searchable.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks mostly the same, except it's big. Its head doesn't grow quite as much as the rest of it. So the head's a little small, but its shell,
The head is too small.
I guess its shell is redesigned to look like part of like an ocean liner or something. And I pointed out, and it's surrounded by like a veil of ice that looks kind of like sheet music or something. But what?
Specifically sheet music, not paper. Sheet music.
Well, yes, like with the bars and notes.
Oh.
I think. But basically, I have 2 problems with it. First of all, that the shell looks kind of like an ocean thing. It doesn't look organic or natural anymore, which clashes with the rest of Lapras, which looks like a Lapras. My other problem is that it doesn't make any sense lore-wise, because the lore of Gigantamaxing is that you can only power them up at specific places where this certain type of energy is focused. And the Pokedex are like, Gigantamax Lapras can carry like 5,000 people in its shell and ferry them across the ocean. And I'm like, no, it can't!
Because it would lose its energy and crush all of them.
Yes, it could ferry them, but only in place. It can only ferry them to where they already are. Unless they have these like massive ley lines of Dynamax energy across the ocean. But from what you see in the game, no, it seems to just be in very localized spots. Which means...
I just like that you can play with the Pokemon. That's the only thing that I really care about it.
Oh yeah, you've been able to do that since Gen 6. It was Pokemon Me, then it became Pokemon Refresh, now it's camping. I guess it's gotten more play-like, because before you could feed them and like pet them and stuff, whereas now you can like wave like a cat fascinator toy at them or throw a ball through a fetch in a really stupid looking way. They just lose their
And Sobble takes forever to get the ball.
But Magikarp will still fetch the ball even though it flops everywhere. Team 4-Star's Nuzlocke actually did some really silly stuff with that.
Nuzlocke is so depressing.
Yeah. They actually green screen themselves into the camp and made it like they were actually like waving the fascinator, and it looked really stupid. And whenever they ran from a battle, they had a rule where one of them had to ride like an exercise bike for like a minute, and actually green screened them like flying across the landscape on the bike, and it was silly, but yeah.
Was it like a charity event, or?
I don't think so. I don't know. I guess it was just to discourage them from running away from battles too much, which I guess is something you might want to do in a Nuzlocke. God, that was frustrating though, because the people there, are bugs weak against electric? No, bugs are weak against electric. Is fighting resistant? I thought fighting was resistant to itself. I thought rock resisted rock. They're so bad at type matchups, and You have no business doing a Nuzlocke. If you
Aaron Hansen.
wasn't doing a Nuzlocke.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Even he posed better with his tight match.
It was just so frustrating that he lost it in that way.
Oh yeah, that at the end. No, like Team 4-Star is just straight. Just they're terrible with tight matchups. So I'm starting to wonder: am I just as impressive that I'm so good with tight matchups? Is that exceptional? I mean, I guess Izzy doesn't know his tight matchups. I feel smart now. I guess this is what you call trivia. The only type matchups that really ever give me trouble are the triad of bug, poison, and ground. Sometimes mix me up a little.
Bug is weak to poison, ground.
No.
Or wait, they resist. Oh wait, they all are weak resist
Yeah.
combo, right?
No. Ground is good against poison. Poison is ineffective against ground. Bug resists ground, but neither are strong against the other.
Oh.
And poison resists bug, I think. I don't know why, but I see that as like a trinity of I had to stop and think of it to remember it. I've been watching a lot of top 10 lists lately.
Hey, look, they're building a boat.
Can I have one? If not, I'm telling. I'm gonna get a drink, and you won't. And you won't stop me.
Oh.
You could.
Oh.
My 555 favorite monsters. 68 of them are Pokemon.
And on your infinite number of least favorite Pokemon, or least favorite monsters, Pokemon probably encompass a large number.
Yes! But there's a reason for that. Because I generally am more likely to have an opinion about a Pokemon.
If you don't like it.
Well, no, then I am just some other monster I'm less familiar with. My familiarity with Pokemon has ingrained at least some vague opinion on about most of them. No. If I actually had an opinion on every monster, I'd say I dislike far more Digimon than Pokemon. Digimon has a lot more just outright displeasing designs.
I have a single, pretty much least favorite Pokemon. And that's it. Yep. That's pretty much the only one that I'm really disappointed in the design.
And I'd say
it's just because it's a snot joke. If it weren't a snot joke, if it, whatever else.
It'd be forgettable.
Yeah.
It's a bear.
Because the bear is at least a cute designed bear.
And I have seen that top a number one.
Cutest Pokemon.
And that baffles me. And also, I think Beartic topped the same person was the ugliest. Beartic was.
Well, you also have to remember, though, Japan thought that Magnemite was the most handsome Pokemon.
I think that's just attached to the fact that Magnemite is a meme in Japan.
I thought that it happened the other way around in that case, though.
No, I think it made it on that because Magnemite was kind of a meme Pokemon.
Looks like someone's horsing around. Okay.
But yeah, apparently that one person just his favorites. Teddy Ursa, you come to his least is the ugliest. Were Ursaring and Beartic, so they obviously have something going on.
What weird and incomprehensible nonsense is this?
Yeah, they just love small bears and they hate large bears. Whereas I'm kind of about all of the bears.
You're not a mammalia carnivora person. That's not true.
That is almost true, actually. But from my time in the furry community, I've decided
The personality
You like
I
cats
have
and
today
dogs.
is the result of that fusion. I believe that I influenced.
I like them as
On a
companions,
meta level, the exact same kind of absorption is taking place right now.
but that's about where my fondness for them
I'm
ends.
changing, and the planet will change.
Well, you don't have any other
depending
kind of
according to
fondness
its guiding
anyway.
culture.
True, but
Next track, please.
I find them extremely boring animals in general.
I think they're friggin' adorable.
I am unimpressed.
I did, however, find out that someone has a great name for their pangolin.
What?
Pinecone!
What?
They named their pangolin Pinecone.
Oh, pinecone? Well, yeah.
That's adorable!
I've heard of pangolins being compared to pinecones and artichokes before. That's fine. What, someone has a pangolin or something?
Yeah, there's a pangolin character. I don't remember, someone on Twitter was posting it.
Well, that's great. I'm not sure if they want to be called pinecone, though, but fair enough.
Why are you not delivering the plastics down here?
But no, I'm not much of a carnivora guy. I kind of like cats, though.
Shit.
Is that fire?
Yeah, that's a fire on the geothermal plant.
What did you do? I thought do you turn disasters on?
Fires are always on.
Are fires not disasters? Oh, they're not natural.
It was a bad experience had by all.
Man, no, that list, I invested some heavy time into it.
I know.
I need to get back to putting the thingy in it.
Aww.
Matching the database in my phone to the one on my computer, which I don't have with me.
Oh.
And I do hate that I just couldn't get clean pictures of some of these.
You haven't been posting on your Tumblr much either.
I've abandoned that blog in favor of my other blog.
Other blog.
I have another blog, yes.
Like, is it the same thing?
No. Shut up. I felt I just didn't have much to say, really, for that. I wasn't really creating anything. I feel there are more relevant places to shove my opinions. Like on just relevant discords and such, than on a blog.
It's too bad.
Hmm?
It's just too bad. I mostly am looking for other people who enjoy Tumblr now.
Oh.
Because I've made a blog that I'm really happy with and nobody really cares.
Yeah, my current what I actually do is I just create content for like world building and settings and stuff of a very niche nature.
And what is that on?
I think it's a blogger or something.
Blogger.
Yeah. I don't trust it really, but I do have it all backed up in a Word file, so I do trust that. Well, a document machine thing. I'm so surprised that just a lot of the the Final Fantasy VII monsters are probably the hardest monsters to actually get a good look at in the franchise. Because either anything before that has more easy to comprehend sprites, and anything later has better detailed models, even on the same system.
Well, I mean, everyone had dumbbell arms in that game.
Right. It's just amazing how much nicer 9 looked than 7, despite being on the same system. Which is a pity, since 7 has some really fun monster designs. I mean, I guess a lot of them were later redone for something, like, something record? I don't know what it was, but you can actually have, like 16-bit style sprites of Final Fantasy VII monsters, but they're kind of small sprites, so you still can't get a very detailed look of them. And a lot of monsters that had a lot going on, like the Bottom Swell. I think I like its design, but I can't be 100% sure because I don't quite know what I'm looking at.
I haven't played that game in so damn long. It's probably been 20 years since I played that game.
Raisins? I had someone in my sort of just point out, if you're born in the 90s, you're basically a dinosaur. And I'm like, what if you were born before the 90s?
Then your name is Neil?
Yeah, apparently I get to be a dragon or something, which is fine.
Huh?
I don't know, apparently that's what if you're older than a dinosaur, you get to be a dragon or
You're
something.
not born in... Wait, were you born in 89?
I was born in 89.
Hmm.
I'm an old man. I was born not long before the 90s, but it was technically before the 90s.
You were born before every Pokemon was designed except maybe Rhydon. You were born before any Pokemon were patented.
Yeah, part of for fandom, someone point out. So, what was your favorite? Oh, what was it? Actually, it was part of the transformation fandom. But what did you think of? Were you part of this? Let's see, I don't remember. What did you think of Pokemon before you were part of this fandom? And I'm like, when I first became part of this fandom, Pokemon didn't exist.
I do not believe that, actually.
I mean, Pokemon wasn't an IP really yet. Well, it probably wasn't. Let's see.
Pokemon as an IP has existed since 1990 in some way, shape, or form.
Oh. But it wasn't a thing. Well, I guess it wasn't in the public public awareness.
The only other thing that you could say is that, unless you somehow were really fascinated by transformation when you were 6 years old.
Back then, maybe not.
Because the first Pokemon game was released in 1996, and was colossal almost immediately.
Really? Man, it's so long ago. No, I remember I was on it right off the bat. Pokemon.
Yeah, you introduced it to me. Or
If I
introduced
hadn't-
me to it. Or, well, both, kind of, I suppose.
I mean, if I didn't, you still would have probably hopped on pretty quickly. That's just the way it was. It was everywhere. What?
The Pokemon, it was everywhere in the 90s.
Yeah.
There was no not Pokemon in the 90s.
My earliest definite memory of that interest, I know, overlapped with playing Mario RPG. The thing is, that could be any time, because even today, that game still exists. It keeps existing.
It hasn't disappeared from universal thought.
Because it's not like I played it on launch or anything. I didn't play anything on launch back then. I still don't, really. Let's see. I know Mario RPGs where I learned the phrase, to lend a hand. which feels really weird thinking about it today. That sounds like an expression that you just are born knowing, you know?
When someone at work asks if I can give them a hand, I have more than once jokingly started clapping.
Because, yeah, the back of the box said, and even Bowser lends a hand. And I just looked at it all and I'm like, what does this mean? God, I was such a dumb kid. I was a really dumb kid. God, I miss Dragon Quest Monsters.
I do miss Dragon Quest Monsters.
I want to play it, but I just... The Switch has spoiled me. I just can't play a game on... I prefer to play a game on handheld, like, vastly to playing it not on a handheld. I don't know what it is about a handheld I love so much. I guess it's just... I like to just get up and move around and such, and with a handheld, I can just do that wherever the hell I want. But I can't play Dragon Quest Monsters on a handheld because I'm not Japanese. Or rather, because I'm too lazy. I don't want to go out of my way to crack a 3DS. I guess I'd also have to buy another 3DS, so that's also money, but... Because they have an English patch.
Translation.
An English patch of Joker 3 and the remake of Monsters 1. I like Monsters. I'd like to see Monsters 2, but... I just can't... I bring myself to play it for some reason. I guess also I'm worried that it's not the emulation's not going to be very good for a 3D game.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just kind of worried because I had to jump through a lot of hoops just to get it to work at all. And which I guess some of my mind's worried that I might have only did it well enough to get it to work so far, and I might get halfway through the game only to realize it'll stop working or something. No, I'm very wary about any emulation past like the Nintendo 64.
Really?
Yeah. Like any system that had like its own like menu outside of its games, I'm wary of that, emulating that. Because that means that itself is going to be a huge hurdle to emulating. Which is the problem because I love giant robots. But most giant robots are purely a Japan thing. So this is basically a whole series locked out to me from this. God, that is the worst copyright protection out there. I hate it so much.
What?
Oh, region locking.
I don't even understand the logic of region locking.
No one seems to understand it. I don't. I just hope that they, even if they don't ever release it here, they release another English Dragon Quest Monsters game. Like in Singapore or Hong Kong or something.
Oh?
What?
Why would they not release it here?
Because why did they didn't release any of the 3DS games here?
I just mean if they're already going to translate it.
That's true. I mean, I guess with the Super Robot Wars games, it makes sense they wouldn't release them here because that's a copyright nightmare.
A copyright mare, if you will.
Because it's like a crossover of like 12 different IPs, none of which are popular here. Well, maybe 2 of which are popular here. So it's just financial suicide to do that. But I guess Dragon Quest is just Dragon Quest, so that's true. I hear that like one of the big people working at Dragon Quest like hates the American game market or something because of how Dragon Quest is so poorly here. They like actually I hear like deliberately nerfed the sound in American copies of the game or something. I find that really hard to believe, but
I don't know.
like instead of like actually like orchestrating music, they use like MIDI versions, which are just inferior. I mean, it doesn't sound like a financially sensible thing to do, but I guess neither did region locking. So there you go.
Yeah, I don't understand what different companies' obsession is with things like region locks.
Again, I think I'm happy to say that it looks like they've mostly gotten over that. Not completely. Steam, for instance, but I guess Steam's a different kind of beast.
Steam is very unique.
They actually released the Super Robot Wars games on Steam, but just not here. Now, what I don't understand is on the Switch, those games on the Switch and other systems, they block screenshots.
Yeah, I don't like that kind of stuff.
Whereas Steam doesn't block, because I don't think Steam allows you to block screenshots. And, well, no, I guess because if they did, there's no real point because your computer itself can still screenshot.
Yeah.
I blame Bandai Namco.
That's the biggest thing with like Flickr is Flickr prevents you from taking or from copying and saving images, but people are like you can just take a screenshot.
Websites that do, I think DeviantArt used to do that. Or
Maybe, I don't know.
They prevent you from saving a picture, which means basically it's just more inconvenient to save a picture because you have to screenshot and you have to crop it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's annoying. Mind you, it is annoying enough that it stops me from doing it, and then I typically just leave that site because there's nothing else I want from them.
Although I will say I don't like that stolen art is still such a common thing.
Well, I mean, theft is theft. Yeah, I'll agree with that. But yeah, Bandai Namco.
That's the guy who made that Azrael.
Yeah. That shirt's a spy.
A bootleg, yeah. I felt really bad after I found out.
You still wear?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, even Rad will prohibit you recording videos of it. And I cannot figure out why. I mean, I guess for blocking screenshots, I guess it's so you don't spoil the game or something? I don't know. I think Japan's just on... Japanese businessmen are just behind the times. That's what I think. That's a blanket statement I'm not proud of, but it's what I believe. You're gonna smush someone. You smushed it with itself! When I hear of people whose first system was like a DSi or something, that feeling.
Of oldness?
Yeah. I'm an old man. It's practically my third or fourth catchphrase. You'll never beat out of course, but... Yeah, speaking of things like that, I know the Konami's Yu-Gi-Oh! Site makes it really hard to actually like view artwork of the cards.
Really?
Yeah, you can't like look at a high quality image of them on the site, and the images they do have are like covered in a sample watermark. I guess it's to make it harder to like counterfeit cards or something.
Probably.
But it's not going to stop someone who is going to make them, right?
Probably not.
No, I just want to look at the pretty artwork that someone put a lot of work into making, probably.
Yeah, they want you to buy the cards. On the secondary market. It's like the idiotic concept of fake scarcity that Nintendo does with all of their properties.
I think they cooled down on that. I think.
Hidden Fates.
What's that?
It was a Pokemon
that.
card set where the packs were friggin'...
Is that Nintendo or is that Wizards of the Coast?
Wizards doesn't own them anymore. It's owned by the Nintendo and the Pokemon Company.
Is that Nintendo or is that the Pokemon Company?
Nintendo? I mean, the Pokemon Company is a subsidiary of Nintendo.
It sure seemed to give Nintendo a lot of problems about... They seem loosely subsidiary. They seem to have a lot less quality control, and I hear that they give Nintendo a lot of fuss about having Pokemon characters included in their games and such.
I mean, unless...
Like, that's why I think I know a lot of Pokemon Amiibo...
Because Game Freak is separate, isn't it?
I don't know, but I know like a lot of Pokemon Amiibo don't work in games where every other Amiibo does something. Just the Pokemon Amiibo specifically often won't. Because copyright is just a mess. It's the reason, it's why we can't have nice things.
So experience something different. Yakisoba. It literally means fried noodles.
Try something different. Yakisoba. It means fried noodles.
With Pen and Masculine. Stay tuned, enjoy, take a break, and just chill. Our songs will go down like an energy pill.
What?
Jesus, look at all that traffic.
Dude? Are you revenge?
Aw.
Oh, looks like I might need to look through TCGs again because it made more monsters when I wasn't looking. How could they? It's gonna be a burger. The heck is a dino wrestler? What?
Even in context, that is a weird sentence.
The heck is apparently it's a whole archetype. There's so many dino wrestlers. Is it a dino or do they wrestle a dino?
Yep.
Okay, it's a dino who is a wrestler. Got it.
Yeah, but is it like Sentai? Because it could go either way.
It's hard to tell with these baby images. These tiny images. No, they show too much skin to be Sentai.
Another funny sentence.
Dino Wrestler Eskrima Menchi.
See, that sounds like Luchador.
It sounds like Eskrima. Dino Wrestler Marshall Anga. Koela Silat. Fifi Nelag. I'm trying to make some sense out of these names. I'm sure there's something to it. Because I definitely see Eskrima. Which definitely is a thing. Just some of these names are so stupid and you wouldn't see them in any other system. Cupid Dunk. Dino Wrestler Terra Parkourio. Parkour is a wrestling style, right?
Nope.
How many times?
How many times?
Better watch out for those piano people.
Is that so?
Hmm.
Planed timber. And metals.
Shush.
Cargo airplane transporting.
Judge.
Oh, it doesn't say what it's transporting.
Judge.
Jaj.
Judge.
Jaj.
Danger, Ogopogo.
What? Is that a name of a Pokemon or a monster?
Yeah, Danger, Ogopogo.
Claybay Lookbook Notebook?
Yeah. And of course there was Humpty Grumpty.
There was Totally Awesome.
Yeah, that's a figure. Apparently it's actually an extremely good card. And it is not its name in Japanese.
Oops. Oops.
Ah!
What's your favorite creature from the Mario universe?
That's an excellent question. I'll look through my gallery. I'm sure I have some here. Oh, these are all in a funky order. What an ugly funky order. It's upside down. Let's see, there's Plessy, of course, but I don't think that'd be my number one. I've actually come to really like Bowser's design himself. The piranha plants are pretty good.
Because, like, I'd say something like, I really do like Koopas, but it literally is a turtle.
Yeah, whereas at least I think Bowser's what I'd call the greater Koopas, have a kind of distinct design.
I was gonna say, the
you know?
Koopalings, I like a lot of the Koopalings.
Right.
Oh, there it is again, the planes are just flying through that building
That's
to
where
land.
that's where they belong. It's their home.
See, you see this building right here? When planes land, they just plow straight through it onto the ground.
F. I'd say
No one was hurt.
they have several Mario entries. This is a bit outdated, but I mean not as many as.
See, right there.
Darn. I mean, most of my video game entries are from RPGs.
I think that Goombas are...
There's the Mega Smilax.
I think Goombas are enjoyable. They try so hard.
Do they? It's hard to tell. They just sort of walk.
No, in some of the games, when they get close, they jump and then start trying to charge at you.
They'll at you. Let's see. There's a bunch here from. I can't even tell what. Oh, those are some Final Fantasy ones from games I just haven't played. There's Imagination. There's some.
What do you think of Temtem?
Where have I heard that?
It's the not Pokemon.
Oh, that!
It's the.
I have absolutely no knowledge of it, but I scoff at all of the clickbait articles of the end of Pokemon.
Well, that's someone was saying in one of the Discords I was in that finally Pokemon has a decent competitor. I'm like, oh, they've had plenty of competition over the years. They just always win.
Right. Looking at it though, I think Pokemon has got fat and lazy. I think Pokemon needs a good competitor to either overthrow them or to put pressure them into trying harder. Because they're complacent. They're just doing what they have. They're just doing the bare minimum of effort, I feel now.
Let's see if this will do this without crashing.
But I wouldn't say Pokemon's had much good competition. They've had some.
I would say Dragon Quest Monsters, if they had continued it in the States, would have been a decent competition. Because I like the charm of a lot of the characters in Dragon Warrior.
You mean the monster designs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love them.
I don't know why they became obsessed with puns. I find that weird.
I mean, it just didn't compare. It didn't sell that well compared to Pokemon. It just couldn't compete. Damn.
That's why I thought it was going to crash. That's why I saved beforehand.
But, yeah, I mean, there was Robopon, but they couldn't succeed because they were blatantly a Pokemon knockoff. There was Yokai Watch, which I think was too Japanese to succeed outside of Japan.
It sounded compelling.
I did not like its monster design.
I haven't seen any of it. I just know that the idea sounded compelling. The idea of yokai being...
just everywhere?
Yeah.
And using your special, like, thingy to see them?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like a less AR Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few of them on my favorites, but not many. They really go all in on the just being silly. I think to a fault, though. That's just my opinion. Digimon, I guess, I think has just accepted its role as being in Pokemon's shadow.
Well, it's also a totally different type of game.
It's many different types of game.
I just mean, like, the game itself is not similar to Pokemon.
Well, there is no single, like, Digimon style.
Yeah, but there are certain things that come to mind. Like, the one that Izzy's playing on here.
World. That's
Digimon World.
That's an iconic one.
That's a style that I automatically associate with Digimon.
I think that's fair because it's probably the most iconic Digimon game. To not be one of the little handheld virtual pets.
And then, isn't there one that was like kind of like Mega Man Battle Network?
Maybe. A lot of them have the same styling of being digital. Let's see, there were some that were kind of in the Pokemon formula, kinda. Those are the ones I most of. There was one that was basically like Gauntlet.
Really?
Yeah, Digimon World 4. It was similar to Gauntlet, that was sort of a simple, just hack and slash romp with the tiniest hint of RPG elements. My problem with that is the Digimon you choose to play as, I really don't like their selection at all. Because again, as Digimon get towards their stronger forms, they move more and more towards being just dudes in armor.
Yeah, humans, armor.
And dudes in armor, that doesn't even register as a monster in my book, 9 times out of 10. It is so disappointing. They have some good designs. They also have a lot of... See, this is something from Yokai Watch.
Is that Tengu?
No, it's a lizard graffiti artist who's doing a blah. Oh, they love puns too. This is a something. It's clearly very Japanese.
A snake with many tongues.
Yes. There's that.
Are these the ones that you liked?
Yes.
You liked the blah?
Yeah. Well, there's this, which I guess is a bit more predictable, but...
A wormy boy.
And, surprising nobody...
What's their Kitsune one?
It is Kitsune.
It just is the plain...
Yes, I think because a Kitsune is just... It's a yokai, but... I'll look it up.
Well, I didn't know if the yokai themselves were... just stylized in it.
And knowing in Yokai Watch 2 it's a version exclusive.
It is?
Yes. I don't remember what the other version gets.
because if you compete with Pokemon, you have to do like Pokemon.
And have version exclusives.
Release 2 at the same time for no real explicable reason.
I think Digimon only did that like once.
That's because it's a stupid idea and it's not nice. I mean, it's a brilliant idea from a marketing standpoint, but it's like a rude idea and exploitative of your fans.
Yep.
It made more sense in the day where you had a couple of local friends and it gave you a reason to play with your friends.
I mean,
but now that it's online,
strong even then. No, there is no. The only reason they do it now is because they know they can get away. They set a precedent and they know they can get away with
yeah,
it.
now they know that they can sell a game twice and make double the money for it.
They even gone as selling 2 packs that have both games, which I think is a bit audacious. Apparently they've been doing that since, I think, Gen 4. No! God damn it!
What?
Sorry. Oh, I was scrolling up a wiki, and there was one of those ads that cements itself to the top of the window.
Oh, yeah.
So when I scroll, it sort of jerks up and down a little bit, and it's like one of those ads that like tries to position itself under your finger. Don't you hate it when you load a page, and then a few seconds later, everything shifts just a little bit, so what you were just clicking on is now something different? No?
I hate browsing websites on mobile, period.
Okay.
For the most part, I am not a fan of trying to use mobile.
Oh no, there is no just Kitsune. There is Kyubi.
Oh yeah, which is a kitsune. It's a 9-tailed kitsune.
Let's see, it is an S rank. Oh, that is pretty stylized, and... Oh, I mean, that's definitely what it is.
Yeah, it definitely has Renamon vibes.
I mean, Renamon has it vibes. I definitely prefer it to Renamon because Renamon's kind of boring. And
Renamon is like apparently just everyone's waifu who liked Digimon.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just a hipster, but most just typical waifus just mean nothing to me.
You don't like Lopunny?
Nah.
Leavenny?
I think he's not everybody's waifu.
Lurantis?
Really? I don't hear much about them. There is one exception, but...
Lucario?
I just don't like Lucario.
Lucario is everyone's waifu.
But it's their man waifu, which is weird since it's not inherently male. But...
Usabando?
Yeah. We'll make an exception for Salazzle.
Salazzle is your waifu?
I suppose. Oh yeah, searching for Kitsune in the OK Watch Wiki gets me almost... It doesn't get me much. Huh.
That's odd, because fox is a
very big in
very
Japanese
popular...
mythology.
Well, even just, it's a very popular animal.
I mean, I guess they have other fox-ish monsters. You have this. I don't like it. I'm assuming it's a fox. Yes. Well, yeah, in Japan it's kontan. And it's kon is like the sound of a fox makes in Japan.
Maybe, I don't know. But you don't like cat girls, so...
Yeah. I mean, I can.
Have you seen the pictures of cats with human ears?
It's bad.
It's funny.
No, it's not.
It's not funny.
I understand I can handle cat girls, but they had to they had to pass a certain threshold first. It can't just be the ears and tail. You gotta go further than that. Like, move the slider down like at least 2 more notches. Then we'll talk. Let's see. Those planes are all facing weird directions. I don't trust them. Oh my god, there's like... It doesn't seem like there's like any... There are very few foxes.
I mean, QB is like exactly...
It is the Kitsune.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
It is exactly that. But there are like no variations of it. Like, this game has... it has a lot of palette swaps. They like palette swaps.
Duh, palette swaps are great. I think I'm the
They're
only
good.
person in the world who actually, like, genuinely likes palette swaps.
I don't dislike them unless they happen to be sock and throw, and they're not even really palette swaps quite. They're close. But there are, well, their Pikachu variants are way more out of hand than Pokemon's Pikachu variants.
How so?
Just their mascot has way more variants than Pikachu does. It's ridiculous.
Whoa. There we go.
Like, they have him, like, as he is, they have him, like, as a masked hero, they have him as sort of, like, grumpy edgy him. They have him as a robot. They have him as a better robot.
If you say way more, I hope you're not considering in that the fact that there's basically a Pikachu in a costume of every Pokemon.
No, I'm just counting the Pikachu of each region. The 8 variant Pikachus, like the Denes and the Dennies and the Plusle.
So don't be silenced when opportunity calls. Pick it up. It's for you.
No, Pikachu has an infinite number of costumes, but those aren't him.
Welcome back. I'm Panem Public Service Escalon, a nickname I got in my youth when I was just part of
My biggest problem with Yokai Watch, though, I think, is the gameplay that was in the demo. Because the demo is going to show you what they feel is their best.
The demo.
That demo, yeah.
I fled to America.
Because your support, it tries to have a more engaging battle system than Pokemon. By having these little mini games you're performing on the bottom screen to provide that, in doing well, then provide support to your monsters to help them fight better. But that means you're basically just the whole fight you're frantically doing those as fast as you can, and you're not even really watching the battle going on. You know?
I mean, to be fair, I never really enjoyed the battles in Pokemon.
Also,
Pokemon to me was about avoiding as many battles as possible.
I fight every single trainer I can. And try to avoid the rest. Oh. Level 5 did Yokai Watch.
I don't know what that means.
Level 5, like, it seems to be a thing they do, where they will take all, like, the names of everything and just super Americanize them 100%. And I don't know why, but that just, in this day and age, that weirds me out, kind of. It also makes browsing the wikis kind of complicated. Wait, who's who now? Oh, and they love puns.
Who's who, what, now what?
You can get names mixed up, because, like, if you're looking for a character, but you've only played the game in the US, and they're using the Japanese names, it gets confusing.
I see.
Because, like, the wiki might have been made back before it had an official release translation, instead of using just... The fan translation was just using the actual Japanese names.
The fanslation.
Yes. Interestingly, QB actually is its English name, which... Huh. But yeah, it was too Japanese for me.
Huh?
It was the monster designs.
That's really surprising to
I
me.
know, it is felt kind of surprising to say it, but I guess that I don't know. It kind of reminds me of just Dragon Quest, but with a much heavier, a more Japanese mythology feel to it. Is how I describe the monster designs. In fewer tongues. Because, like, everything in Dragon Quest does a blep at you. Everything.
That's because Blep is cute.
Yeah, blep is good. I mean, a lot of the monsters weren't trying to do a cute, but they would do a blep. Hleg. Hleg. Sis. Sis. Sis.
Is that so?
No.
Well, then don't lie to me. What would you do that for?
It's a bird. Sis.
You're lying to me now.
Sis.
I don't even know you anymore.
Does anybody? Dr. Goat does.
Shut up about Dr. Goat.
Oh, gotta love stupid in jokes.
It's not really an in-joke.
It's stupid.
It's definitely stupid, but it's not an in-joke.
It will be eventually, maybe. Probably not.
Railroad.
Haha, the boy.
Why did that make you laugh all of a sudden?
Sorry, my mouth just started doing things like
Haha,
this.
the boy.
Well, I laughed because I just realized it's stupid. And I wasn't actively trying to be stupid. I was just passively stupid instead. There's the Galaxy Eyes Soul Flare Dragon. That sounds pretty Japanese, doesn't it? Spooky Vikings.
Sure, you say that now.
Six. Can... Going through a tunnel.
No.
Just no.
No.
You're not.
I'm not.
Well, now you're playing that top-down horror game.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You're playing Knocked.
Oh. Ish?
God damn it! That made too much. Oh, I'm surprised you actually managed to make some sense out of what I said.
I mean, the
'Cause it's
colors were all
stupid.
in black and white and stuff. And
And now you're going through a tunnel again.
I don't know why you're saying that.
Does anybody really know what I want?
Oh, this... I'm not even... I gotta... I stole your catchphrase. Here you go.
Shiny boyo. The music's getting to the place where it is. Bring something to mind. What is it?
I have no idea. I have no clue what you're trying to imply.
Is this vaporwave?
I mean, it's cyberpunkish. It's not really vaporwave.
I know nothing.
Let's see here. This.
X.
Is this an X?
This is an X. This kid is a door.
Oh, that's why.
drinks.
Man, they really like making pot puns if you legalize marijuana.
What?
In this game.
Pop guns?
Pot puns.
Oh. That sounds annoying.
Yeah, especially because it mostly just benefits your tax dollars in this game.
I guess I just don't like pot jokes in general, though.
I don't either.
I don't know why, but they irritate me.
I find them tedious to listen to.
I guess it's because it feels like they find themselves much more clever than they are? Is that what it is?
Maybe, I don't know. It may have something to do with it 100% not being your culture.
Yeah, it might just be part of me being a teetotaler. That's probably part of it.
I mean, I don't find them funny, and I drink alcohol.
Not on purpose.
Not frequently.
You only drink alcohol when someone forces you to.
Sounds like a pretty not swell situation.
It's bad. Hungus bungus.
Should be enough space to burrow.
I feel like this is about to... The music of this keeps reminding me of things that it isn't.
I don't know what you mean.
You will one of these days. What?
It sounds like a ice level in a video game.
It does now, yes.
How many do I have? I have 3. Guess that must have gotten put out, because I don't see any giant buildings on fire.
changing the colors of the world.
That's because it uses up less space to put all the rails underground.
Where people can't find them and steal them.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
What if you read an AI weirdness?
I
'Cause I'm
can't.
sure there is one.
No, I removed them.
I don't know what you're
It's
talking
not a
about.
bad idea. Let's see. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Not AI whatever that is. Yeah, weirdness. Thank you. Welcome to the world. Let's see. Some sort of interview. Look back at favorite projects from 2019.
Has there really been none since then? Since last year?
I don't know. Tumblr doesn't give you dates.
The wait is over. It's finally here. Friday night chili bowling at Eddie's Bowling Alley. Every Friday night.
AI generated cocktails. We did that one, right?
I don't remember.
Due to recent incidents, the chili will only be distributed at the end of your visit. That way you can enjoy it wherever you
How
want.
far has AI come in a year? In 2018, I generated cocktails using text gen RNN and SHAR RNN, 2 neural networks that learn to imitate text. I trained them on 1,000 cocktails that Beth Squareki collected for her neural net cocktails bot. And watched the neural net struggle to make sense of what they were seeing. They came up with non-existent ingredients and had such limited memory that they didn't know how many times they'd already used a particular ingredient. One cocktail, the Black Banana, was a behemoth containing a staggering amount of creme de cacao.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you have it on this?
No, the old version.
Black Banana. 1.5 ounces gin, 1/2 ounce dry vermouth, 1 ounce cream,
Vermouth.
1 ounce creme de cacao, 1/2 ounce creme de cacao, 1/2 ounce rum, 1/2 ounce lemon juice, 1/2 ounce creme de cacao, 1/2 ounce triple sec, 1/2 ounce grenadine, 1/2 ounce creme de cacao, and 1/2 ounce amaretto. Fill cocktail shaker with ice. Add gin, vermouth,
Yeah, vermouth.
and pineapple juice. Shake. Strain into a Collins glass. Add add coffee, liqueur, creme de cacao, and cream. Shake. Strain into a chilled cocktail glass. Garnish with a lemon slice. In 2019, the neural net GPT-2 was released by OpenAI, who trained it on 40 gigabytes of text from the internet. GPT-2 runs on the big processors on Google Cloud. It has much better memory. And when I trained it on the cocktails, I found that GPT-2 could keep track of its ingredients and figure out that it was supposed to just use them once. But its cocktails don't seem to be any good. In some cases, they're very, very bad. Big White Fizz. 1 ounce Grand Marnier. 1 ounce gin. 1/2 ounce brandy. 1.5 ounces cream. 1 teaspoon sugar. 1 teaspoon Tabasco sauce. Dash macarona. Fill cocktail shaker with ice. Add Grand Marnier, gin, and cream. Shake.
Grand Mariner, probably.
Strain into a Collins glass. Fill with crushed martini glass.
I don't like where this is going.
Garnish with pepper jack cherry. Note: do not make this cocktail. What? You don't
crushed martini glass.
Is eating crushed glass bad now? Further note. Apparently, macarona is a popular Egyptian pasta dish, which is an interesting choice for a cocktail. So everything is fairly mundane until crushed martini glass. The neural apparent obsession with creme de cacao also seems to be alive and well, as is the inadvisable handling of glassware. AI's favorite: half-ounce creme de moly, half-ounce triple sec, half-ounce melon cordial, fourth-ounce creme de cacao, fourth-ounce creme de cacao. I thought you said they were done doing that. Heat creme de cacao and triple sec until very hot. Add melon cordial. Stir. Strain into puddled whipped cream glass. Fill with
What does that mean?
Fill with creme de cacao.
Just fill it. Just drink creme de cacao, and that's it.
It's yummy, okay? I love it. The neural net can also tend to go overboard with the garnishes. Detho Shapiro. 1 ounce ginger ale. Add ginger ale, sugar, and salt. Stir. Pour into a chilled martini glass. 2/3 cups crushed ice. Fill cocktail shaker with ice. Add crushed ice. Fill with crushed ice.
It really wants that ice in there, man.
It's almost like crushed glass. Add crushed ice. Pour into a Collins glass. Garnish with a maraschino liqueur.
Maraschino liqueur. It's
Serve with a cherry. Garnish with a strawberry. Enjoy this high fidelity saucer with a cherry. Garnish with a maraschino liqueur. Garnish with a maraschino flower. Garnish with a maraschino nutmeg.
What is a maraschino nutmeg?
Garnish with a mint sprig or an orange slice. Garnish with a sweet cherry. Serve with a nutmeg slice.
I don't think I'm gonna do that.
It's better than the crushed martini glass.
Marginally.
I think it's much better. And GPT-2 almost has too much memory for cocktails, in that it assumes that cocktails must be related to cocktails that came before, with the result that when it has generated a weird cocktail by accident, the rest get even weirder. AI's favorite cafe: mixed flavor, mixed à loose, mixed flavor, mixed flavor. Oh, just a lot more mixed. 3/4 ounce tequila. Float a dash of grenadine. Add tequila, grenadine, and grenadine. Blend until smooth.